Good afternoon, dear friends. It's Einen Military with you. Last night, Zelensky gave a speech that said many interesting things, including that Putin will soon die, even though Putin is 72 years old, while Trump is 78 years old. So the bet must be given to Zelensky. He also mentioned that Americans are now repeating a bad and obstructive Russian narrative. Well, it will be interesting to see the reaction of the American side to his statement. Meanwhile, we continued to study the situation on the front line as the battle did not stop. Let's open the map of Belgorod, Kursk, and Sumy. So friends, today we will start with the situation in the Belgorod, Kursk, and Sumy regions, before moving on to other areas on the front line. As for Belgorod, the battle geography remains unchanged for now. Let me remind you that it has been 10 days since the Ukrainian armed forces launched their attack on the Belgorod region. During this time, they managed to control one village of Demidovka, and it was not completely as you can see on the map. Russian attackers are still on the northern outskirts, and the battle for the village continues. UAF also continued the attack in Popovka yesterday morning. For Indonesian, for example, under the fog, they tried to invade the village with a large column. As a result, 8 equipment were destroyed. Most of the UAF attack troops were killed, but some managed to land and scattered in the trees south of the village. That is why this area is marked as a gray zone on the map. The battle for Popovka continues. UAF does not spare its troops. By the way, intelligence reports from yesterday show that Ukraine has concentrated about 4,000 troops and more than 100 equipment in front of the Belgorod region. Of course, they are scattered in different locations rather than in one place. Otherwise, they would have been affected, but the total number is still 4,000 soldiers and more than 100 vehicles. So there is no room for complaints. Instead, the defensive fortress must be strengthened. Is Shersky preparing for an attack on Belgorod? Many people in the comments are worried about this, but I don't think 4,000 soldiers are not enough for that. But Krana Yaruga is the real target and has been like that since the beginning. What else about the Belgorod region yesterday? 2 borders in Indonesian. The guards called artillery fire at themselves to prevent Ukrainian troops from breaking into Popovka. Unfortunately, they died. I'm sure they will be awarded a posthumous Russian hero because they act as true border guards who defend the border at the expense of their lives. The Kursk area in the Gubo area. The front is practically frozen. Actually, not only practically, but completely. There is no movement at all. There were various reasons for this daily reinforcements from Mayapel to the UAF, and the village's position was inconvenient for attack. In general, no major troops were deployed to invade the area. There was no massive attack in which a large army tried and failed to seize the village. On the contrary, there is slow creeping progress in small groups. But further north, the situation is much better. Look at the unmarked area on the map that is still controlled by the UAF, only 8 square kilometers. The total key points here are Oleshny and its surroundings. This was the last fortification before the northern UAF bridge was completely eliminated. And I will tell you more. Russian troops have advanced from Kursk to the Sumy region. As I mentioned, the investigative attack on the Sumy region has begun from the Kursk region here. In this section, the American cartographers have not fully updated the map, but in fact Russian troops have advanced to a depth of 1.5 kilometers. Currently, troops are being built in this forest area. The target here is Clear Unk, so let's move forward step by step Basovka's target, Lochnia, and after that Unikivka. The distance is now short, only 5 kilometers from the current position to the outskirts of Una. The target of Gorovka Belovdi, which is only 800 meters away, is basically already on the outskirts of the village. But once again, Unika's final target is Vasilka's target to seize the village and help the beloved Vladimirka raid. Currently, about half of the village is under control. The next step is to advance towards Nova Nikikovka and then along the road to Unikivka. So as you can see, all movements meet towards Unipka. The village was besieged in a large clamp movement, and the advance from Kursk fit perfectly with this plan. If the UAF is preparing and concentrating troops in front of the Belgorod area, their prospects are still unclear. However, one brigade, because of the Indonesian 4,000 soldiers with equipment, precisely one brigade is not enough to achieve significant results. This is not the Kursk region. Here the defenses are prepared the last 10 days since the UAF's attempt to break through. has proven this again. I read the comments and saw that many people panicked, fearing the UAF might break.